All right. Can you see which way it shifts? This whole section so far is about learning about how a parabola shifts on a graph. They all start at the origin. Hopefully I have this right color. They'll all start, nope, I don't. They will all start right here at the origin with the form of y equals x squared. That's the parent function. Well, they shift right or left, they shift up or down, and they stretch or shrink. If you remember the rubber band exercise I showed you. So what we did here is we looked at each of these four equations, okay, and we matched them with the four, and if you'll notice there's 5 graphs, but there's only 4 equations. So what I did is I numbered it 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you have to pick which one goes where, and we'll start with A. With A, we needed to identify what is A, what is H, and what is K. So when we look, the A value of the first problem is 1, so that means no stretch or shrink. The H value, well, there is no parentheses, so there is no horizontal movement, so that is 0. And then the K value is -3. So that tells me my vertex is at 0 and 3. So find the one that says 0 and 3. No, 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 no. So this is going to be A right here, and that's what we did and went through. So work on those. I'm going to jump ahead to the bottom part down here. We talked about the vocabulary. We talked about how to find the vertex. The vertex is H and K. The line of symmetry would be x equals H, or in this case, whatever. Remember, these are linked. A vertical stretch, that's when A is greater than 1. If it opens up, A is positive. If it opens down, A is negative. And our vertex form again, which is f of x equals ax minus h squared plus k. That is our vertex form. So now when we go ahead and move ahead, this is going back to what I said at the beginning. They're trying to get you to understand that you have anchor points right here. And these anchor points are points that are on the parabola. You have the vertex, which in this example is 0, 0. And if you take the function right here, and if you were to create a table of values, all right, and if you created 1, 2, and 3, you would input 1 and get an output of 1, input 2, get an output of 4, input 3, get an output of 9. That's where this pattern of 1, 4, 9 comes from. And if I inputted -1, -2, -3, it would still be the same 1, 4, 9. So how is that working? We spent a lot of time kind of covering that, and it's difficult, I know. So if we get to how to graph this rather quickly, we move over 1, up 1, we're on the parabola. I could move left 1 and up 1 and still be on that. I could move right 2 and up 4, or right 3 and up 9. So this is the pattern of 1, 4, 9. 1, 4, 9 is all upward movements. Here the line of symmetry should be x equals 0, because remember, the x value, the vertex, and the line of symmetry are the same. So we're going to apply this pattern to our other examples here. And if I can get this to work right, it wants me to create an equation with the side length, with the square length, where the side length is decreased by 3. So that's x minus 3. The area is multiplied by 2. So whatever that area is, I'm going to multiply it by 2. And then whatever happens, I'm going to add 4 at the end. So my equation is going to look like this. F of x is equal to x minus 3 squared. I'm going to double that area, and I'm going to add 4. Now another representation of this is going to be either a table or a graph. Well, if I do the table, I've got to put input values. Yeah, you can't have -0, come on. And you would basically have to do this problem 6 times. I don't want to do it 6 times. So the easier version of this other representation is a graph. Remember, A tells me stretch or shrink. The H value tells me that it shifts right or left, and it's x minus, it shifts to the right, because it's actually a +3, not a -3. So I'm going to go over 3 and up 4. There's my vertex, opens up, and remember, what does A do? A causes it to stretch, so it's going to be a little bit skinnier than normal. There's my different representation. Now when we move to 3, it wants an equation. They give me a graph and it wants another representation. Well, to me, the other representation is the equation. Again, I could fill out a table, and in this one, a table would make a lot more sense because I could just pick points out of the graph and fill them in the table. But to me, the equation is going to be just as easy. Why? Because here's the vertex. I know the vertex is at 1, 2, 3, and -1. So right off the bat, I can say f of x is equal to, I have to know my a value. My shift is x minus 3 squared minus 1. All I have to do is look at my a value. Well, if I go right 1 and up 1, am I on my graph? No. How far do I have to go up to get to my graph? I have to go right 1 and up 2, so my a value is 2. There, I'm done. To me, that was faster than filling out a table. Just saying. And I know that's kind of fast, but if you're paying attention to what's going on, or hit rewind and go back. Same thing here. Parabolas meet in the middle. So 23 I can't compare, 14 I can't compare, but 7 I can compare, 2 I can compare, -1 I can compare, and here's my vertex. It's in the middle. So my h is -1, my k is -2, so f of x is going to be equal to, leave a blank for my a value, x plus 1 squared minus 2. Remember, if this is -1, this should say +1, okay? It looks like it's opposite, but where the plus comes in is when you say x minus whatever values h is, minus a minus turns to x plus 1. That's why it has to be x plus 1. And what about my parabola here, my a value? Well, plot the vertex, -1, -2. Pick a point on either side, 2 and -1. If I go over 1 and up 1, I'm on that part of the parabola, so my a value is 1. Okay, didn't change. Here, this one's pretty easy. Establish what's going on. Where is my vertex? So, again, f of x equals, notice I'm leaving the a value blank, because I got to go back and figure out what it is. So, a, h, k. Well, my vertex is -3 and +4. So that's going to be x plus 3 plus 4. Now I just got to figure out what the vertex is. So go right 1 or left 1, and then ask yourself, how far down do you have to go to get to your graph? How far down did I go? I didn't go 1. Most of us are going to say we went about a half, but the other thing is I went down a half. That's key. I went down a half, so it's -1/2. All right, so what I want you to do here for these in question 6, there should be a 6 there. In 6, 7, and 8, okay, I want you to find the vertex. For all these, I want you to tell me, does it open up or down? And what is the pattern? Is the pattern 1, 4, 9? Okay? Or is it going to be different? And this one, I'll just tell you, it's going to be 1, 4, 9, because this is -1. So since it's -1, I know it opens down because A is negative. And since it's a 1, my pattern is 1, 4, 9. And I can graph it accordingly. So tell me that with 6, 7, and 8. You should be able to graph those. 9, this is a generalization. So it's saying, given the general form, a x minus h squared, what is the vertex of the parabola? The vertex is h and k. The axis of symmetry is always x equals my x value of the vertex, which in this case they're saying is h. How can you tell if the parabola opens up? If the a value is positive or negative, that's how I can tell that. And how do you identify the vertical stretch? If a is greater than 1. If a is greater than 1, hey, it's going to stretch. Does it matter what order we do the transformations in? Yes, of course it matters. Okay? Think of PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Whatever you use to think of order of operations, it matters. Everything has to have an order to it. You can't do the stretch or shrink first and then move the thing around. It wouldn't work that much. This is a repeat of all the other stuff. I'm not worried about the takeaways, the vocab stuff. You also need to have, this is just a repeat of what's above. A, B, and C. The only thing I'm really worried about here is identify the vertex and graph the parabolas. So do that, make sure you get those done. And then down here the same thing, all right? And that's gonna take care of it for your notes, because the rest of the stuff is others. Ask questions as needed, please.